Our top story today, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. taking the witness chair, not holding back before the Senate Finance Committee. We have all the hot moments here on Spin Room today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Vanessa Broussard. With cameras rolling and the nation watching, Kennedy delivered blistering testimony, clashing with lawmakers, raising eyebrows, and sending shockwaves through the chamber. Take a listen.
We are the sickest country in the world. That's why we have to fire people at CDC. They did not do their job. This was their job to keep us healthy.
Thank you,
and I need to fire some of those people to make sure this doesn't happen again.
For hours, Kennedy defended his record, confronted critics head-on, and cast himself as a defender of Americans during the political storm. Our Allison Steinberg was inside the hearing. She joins us live from Washington, D.C. with more on this. Allison, what a day, from protests to supporters there as well to bombshell testimony. You were there. What can you tell us?
Hi, Vanessa. Yes, it's been a huge day here on the Hill. Lots of excitement with the hearing today, but it really kicked off when I was entering the Dirksen Senate building here to go into the hearing. And I was met with a bunch of protesters. There was a bunch of crazy, deranged, clearly very vaxxed, very boosted individuals who were vehemently opposed to Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s efforts to truly make America healthy again. I think we have some footage of what I encountered when walking in. Let's take a look at that first.
RFK, how many children did you kill today? Hey, hey, RFK. How many children did you kill today? Hey, hey.
You guys think RFK?
How many children did you kill today?
You think RFK killed kids?
But RFK is on his way of doing so. Yes, with the cuts to U.S. aid funding.
With the cuts to U.S. aid funding? What about the vaccines that are killing kids?
I'm not going to engage with you.
I'm just curious to know your thoughts. You don't think the vaccines are causing harm?
No.
No?
No.
No adverse reactions? Not a single one dead?
Saves lives. RFK kills.
We're going to die of polio.
How many people are going to die of polio?
Yep, that's what I want.
How many people have died from the COVID shots?
RFK kills.
Way less than COVID, but we're going to be done.
RFK kills. CDC saves lives. RFK kills.
I mean, these people have to be paid protesters. Who has time to do this in the middle of Thursday? But it just goes to show how ridiculously brainwashed these people are. They can't tell, I guess, 5 years down the road that the vaccines actually did far more harm than good. And none of the COVID measures were at all effective whatsoever. Standing on a sticker 6 feet apart from the person in front of you at the grocery store, masks, plastic dividers. It was all such a joke, and these people still are upholding the mandates, I guess, that were forced upon us all. They still want to live like it's the COVID era, and they don't want to give it up. So it's kind of sad, but also funny to see that. But the protesters didn't stop there. Unfortunately, there was many of them in this room. One lady got actually wheeled out in a wheelchair about 30 minutes into the hearing today, but it was pretty explosive. RFK did not let any of the noise bother him. In fact, he just drilled down at any opportunity he could. The Democrats and Republicans were largely against him. I mean, this really is a uniparty here. It seems like many members of both the Democrat and Republican side are backed by Big Pharma. And RFK is really on his own here, up against a wall, just sort of the Lone Ranger here, fighting back against these paid-off Big Pharma shills. So it was very interesting. Vanessa, you played a clip in your intro about RFK saying that the U.S. is the sickest country in the world, and the CDC failed to do their job. But he went on to list some more really interesting statistics. Let's take a listen to that clip from RFK with those stats.
Yes, Senator, this morning I got the latest numbers from CDC that 76.4% of Americans now have a chronic disease. This is stunning. When my uncle was president, it was 11%. 1950, it was 3%. Today, it's 76.4%. 8 out of 10 of our kids cannot qualify for military service. This is a national security issue. When my uncle was president, we spent zero on chronic disease. Today, we spend $1.3 trillion. It's the biggest cause. It's increasing. And all of the arguments that Republicans and Democrats have about single payer, Obamacare, or with the various ways of allocate the health dollars, they're all like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. If we don't end this chronic disease, we are the sickest country in the world. That's why we have to fire people at CDC. They did not do their job. This was their job to keep us healthy.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
I need to fire some of those people to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Thank you, Mr.
It's so funny that these Democrats are so outraged by RFK cutting back and getting rid of the waste within our government, within our agencies. This is so long overdue. All of these people acting like they're, contributing to the health of America in some way when chronic disease is the worst it's ever been. And to RFK's point, it's actually become a national security crisis. We have, members of society that can't even function, that are so dependent on these drugs and processed foods that they can't even live a healthy life. So yeah, it is a huge issue. And the fact that, again, these Democrats and Republicans alike, the uniparty, wants to defend this and looks to all sorts of drugs and medications to fix these problems is really just slapping a Band-Aid over the bigger root issue, which is the fact that chronic illness is running rampant. It's a huge issue, and millions of Americans are suffering it from today. So my applause to RFK for trying to root out corruption and get to the root of the real issue here.
You're absolutely right, Allison. And, I see a little bit of President Trump in him today. He's there defending the American people. He's there defending the American children. And so they can go back and forth with him all they want, Republicans and Democrats alike, but he is there to save the health of our nation. And so he just took a brunt today. We knew it was coming. We knew it would be a fun-filled day. We knew it would be a clown show, which it was. But he's just bringing common sense. Years ago, we didn't have these high statistics. All of a sudden, we do. And he has promised that in September, he will turn in the reports that showing, for example, the high autism rate and that the vaccines do cause this. And so we're still awaiting those reports to come out, because he said he'd have them as early as this month. But it comes down to common sense. And going back, Allison, to the protesters, yes, I believe they're paid. We see the same protesters at a lot of these events, but they're just uneducated. When you go to ask them a question, and this isn't the first time this has happened today, when you go to ask them a question, they just don't have an answer. For me, if I'm standing out there either supporting someone, I don't go to protest, but if I were to go to a protest, I would do my homework before I went to know what I'm there protesting. They don't even know.
That's so true. They never know when you actually grill them on the facts. They can't do it. The best they can do is just regurgitate the liberal talking points they've been fed by whoever it is that, pays them to go out to these protests. But it just goes to show how unintelligent and uninformed they are. If they had any semblance of common sense, they would be able to maybe, put two and two together and realize that these vaccines are killing people. They've done massive damage. People are suffering adverse reactions. And I want to give an applause to Senator Ron Johnson, who was one of, 2 senators today here that actually stood up for truth. The other one being Senator Marshall, who I was really surprised by. He showed up with a big chart and broke down some of the numbers and the number of jabs that are required on the vaccine schedule. It's, I believe, 76 vaccines, on the vaccine schedule for the children. So it's very disturbing. And what's even more concerning to me is the fact that there was only those 2 that I just mentioned, along with RFK, of course, who are actually standing for the truth. Every other member of this Senate seems to be totally paid off by Big Pharma, because they're all pushing this lie and this narrative that these vaccines are essential. In fact, many of these Democrats were so outraged over the fact that RFK is limiting access to these COVID boosters when we are 5 years past this scamdemic, and most people have herd immunity. Most people have had COVID like a number of times at this point, yet these Democrats are still so incessant on pushing booster shots into the arms of Americans who simply don't need them. So that is deeply disturbing to me. Another big topic, of course, was the whole politicization of COVID. RFK Jr. was asked point blank if COVID was politicized, and I just loved his response here because he just laid it out and told it like it was, and it really left the room rather stunned. Take a listen to this.
Do you believe COVID-19 was politicized?
Yeah, the whole process was politicized. Senator, I mean, we were lied to about everything. We were lied to about natural immunity. We were lied to about, we were told again and again the vaccines would prevent transmission, they prevent infection. It wasn't true. They knew it from the start it wasn't true because that's what the animal studies and the clinical trials showed. We were told that there was science behind cloth masks. The CDC allowed the teachers union to write the order closing our schools, which hurt working people all over the country, and then pretend it was science-based. All of these issues, and then I can show you, like, for example, Chairman Wyden was talking about me politicizing ACIP. During COVID, probably the most famous scientist on ACIP was Martin Kulldorff from Harvard, the great, world-renowned epidemiologist and vaccinologist. And he criticized the COVID booster mandates. They ejected him from COVID because he wasn't in the orthodoxy. The two biggest health officials at FDA during COVID, Dr. Gruber and Dr. Krause, criticized the Biden mandates, vaccine mandates. President Biden said in August, I would never take that vaccine, the Trump vaccine. And he came in, he mandated it, and then he fired the two top health officials at FDA who said, hey, this thing has not been properly tested. So the whole process was politicized, and even today.
So let me,
So, yes, absolutely. The whole process was politicized. And I think that was a key takeaway from what RFK attempted to say today, which I want to also mention. He wasn't really given much of an opportunity to respond. These senators just grilled him on all these questions. They would ask him point blank a very specific question, and they wouldn't even then allow him to respond. They just shut him down because they're so eager to get their little talking points in and to get their viral sound bites for social media. But with the little time that RFK Jr. did have to respond to these deranged lunatics, he really drove home the fact that we need to get back to actual science, and science should never be politicized. The fact that COVID, and really all science for that matter, we even got into talking about, the autism rates and how SSRIs and antidepressants are greatly harming American citizens. We just need to get down to the real science, and science should not be a left or a right issue. We should just want the facts and the real numbers, and that is impossible to get out of the COVID scamdemic. The numbers from COVID really don't exist because the Biden regime totally misreported them. They inaccurately reported all of the numbers from there. Really, the only thing they have to go off is the VAERS data, which Democrats ultimately deem as insufficient. So it's just this back and forth. It's like we're living in two completely different realities, and the Democrats will never see through the truth, or at least they'll never admit it. And here we are, the conservatives, just doing our best to try to shed light on the reality of the situation, only to be called crazy, delusional conspiracy theorists who wear tinfoil hats, right? So it almost seems like a problem that's never going to be solved, but we just got to keep fighting and hanging in there and do our best to expose the truth.
You're absolutely right. Allison, I know you've had a long day. Real quick, there was a mic drop moment, though. Can you touch on that real quick?
Yes, the mic drop of the day was the fact that Chairman Ron Wyden, obviously a Democrat, was just hammering RFK and just trying to think that, make him sound like he was an idiot. But I think Chairman Wyden is the actual idiot, and RFK beautifully presents his case for this right here. Take a listen to this clip.
Senator, you've sat in that chair for how long? 20, 25 years, while the chronic disease in our children went up to 76%. And you said nothing. You never asked the question why it's happening. Why is this happening? Today, for the first time in 20 years, We learned that infant mortality has increased in our country. It's not because I came in here. It's because of what happened during the Biden administration that we're going to end.
And that's the real story. These lifetime politicians are in their seats for decades and do nothing. And then someone like RFK, who's outside of the system, wants to come in and reform it and make actual changes for the first time ever. And now suddenly there's a problem. No, the problem is the career lifetime long politicians that have done nothing but just sit there and criticize others. It's disgusting. And I'm so glad RFK called him out on that.
I am too, Allison, because, you know, to see that the mortality rate in our children has gone up and all of the conditions that they have coming up, he's just said 76%. It's unacceptable and it needs to end today. Allison, good to see you. Thanks for joining us today and for that great report.
Thanks so much, Vanessa.
We are continuing our coverage now. We turn now to Chief Scientific Officer of Children's Health Defense, Dr. Brian Hooker. Doctor, thank you so much for being here. I know you've seen all of this today unfold. First, what's your reaction to Kennedy's testimony today?
I couldn't be prouder and more thrilled to have such a qualified and such a scientifically based individual in the position of HHS Secretary to make a difference, who basically has been sort of the prophet in the wilderness, talking about the chronic disease epidemic, talking about the truth of the science of the chronic disease epidemic in the face of just so much persecution, so much backlash. This was an amazing moment for history. And again, I've had the privilege of working with Secretary Kennedy really for the past 10 years. I couldn't be prouder. I couldn't be more thrilled that he is in the position to really make a difference.
And he spoke earlier. We've seen it several times in this broadcast, talking about and backing his decision with all of the firings at the CDC. Look, if they're not getting the job done, and if the American public is not healthy, and we have seen the increase in chronic diseases, and now it's affecting our children as well, that seems to be the right move to make.
It is the absolute right move to make. Really, these firings in the CDC are, basically inspired by the fact that the CDC is captured by the pharmaceutical industry, and namely by the vaccination industry. The CDC is a conflicted agency that buys and sells over $4.5 billion worth of vaccines, distributes the vaccines to the states. And so they are Big Pharma's biggest customer. And so many of these firings, are based on the fact that, this whole notion of the fear tactics around infectious disease, around childhood infectious conditions, have pervaded their site so much that they cannot see what's going on around them with the chronic disease epidemic, in children, in adults, and so many children that are suffering so much on diseases that aren't infectious diseases that last 2 weeks. These are a lifetime of maladies.
I saw a meme the other day, Doctor, and it really broke my heart when I saw it. It was a picture of a baby, and what it said was, "I'm going in healthy to the doctor's office, and I'm coming out with autism." And what that means is this baby was going to get one of its vaccines, one of its shots, and coming out infected. And that's, I said it's a meme, which it was, but it's the truth, and that's the reality of so many American families. They're seeing these kids these babies going into doctors' offices. They have met all of their milestones. They get their, 2, 3, 4 shots that they get during their visit and come out, and they start seeing them regress. They are going backwards instead of forwards. And so the next thing you know, they're not speaking. They're delayed with potty training. They're delayed with walking. There's so many different delays, and then it's revealed later on when they're a couple of years old that they are diagnosed with autism. And so there's got to be an end to this.
There needs to be an end to this. And Secretary Kennedy, he's masterfully dismantling, the things that have been so unscientific. When you take your infant in for their well child checkups at 2 months 4 months and 6 months of age, they're receiving as many as 7 or 8 needle sticks for 7 or 8 different vaccines that contain aluminum, that contain trace amounts of mercury, that contain formaldehyde, and none of these have been tested together. There are blanket statements uh, by the American Academy of Pediatrics, by the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, that children can take. There is no upper limit to the number of vaccines that they can take. But again, they have not been studied. The science is not on those individual sides. They are bought and sold by the vaccination industry. And, to see Secretary Kennedy inject the truth, inject science regarding the preposterous, behavior of these pediatricians. It's so refreshing, and I can only think that the future is brighter because of it.
And you're right. He's battling the pediatricians. I know a lot of mothers and fathers out there are doing the same. I hear about it almost daily, doctor. I have a 3-year-old, and I've been, head to head, toe to toe with pediatricians as well. But it goes back to, they don't control our children. I'm the mother. I know a lot of parents are out there watching. They're the parents, and if they say no, I don't want my child to have this vaccine, or that should be the case. And so what's happening is these children are getting to school age, and parents are really opening up now, which is what we want. The whole MAHA movement is growing at rapid speeds. And so they're getting to school age, and then they have to have, a note from the state, a note from a pediatrician, all the things that go through just to get their child into a school district. And what they're finding is that they're just battling these pediatricians. They won't sign off on it. And so what do you do in that situation as a parent? It's so hard. And so I actually had a phone call with a former congressman the other day, and he said when he was in office, he received phone calls daily from his constituents asking the same thing. What do we do?
Well, first of all, it's important to know that your pediatrician isn't necessarily giving you the best advice for your wonderful child or for your family. Many pediatricians are incentivized by HMOs, and they will receive a bonus for the number of children in their practice who are fully vaccinated using the CDC schedule. If pediatricians have a practice of anywhere between 2,000 to 4,000 pediatric patients, they can make upwards to $500,000 a year in these bonuses alone. So first of all, your pediatrician may not have your best interest in mind, and frank conversations like, are you getting incentivized by HMOs, need to happen with your practitioners. If your practitioners are not forthcoming with that information, if you're getting stonewalled, then the best thing that you can do is vote with your feet. I know there are good practitioners out there. We've been fortunate, we've been blessed in my own family to work with good practitioners. We do opt out of vaccination. And if that is not a choice, then you need to vote with your feet. And in addition, you need to know your state laws regarding vaccination exemptions. There are states like California, Maine, Connecticut, New York that do not have vaccine exemptions. And, so you need to know that ahead of time, and you need to know what your rights are regarding education and regarding the medical decisions. Vanessa, parents are the best experts in their children, hands down. I mean, I will say that as a scientist. If a pediatrician is strong-arming you and threatening you, with polio or with measles or with whatever, then please bear in mind your parental intuition is much, much better than anything that pediatrician can offer you.
I think you're right. You know your child more than a doctor or Big Pharma knows your child. And so I think parents, and they're watching their children closely. And when they see this regression, that's when they really need to put their foot down and make sure that they study up on this. And, their child's life, their future depends on this. And that was a bombshell you just dropped about, them getting paid for the vaccines. And we knew that money talks in Big Pharma's world, and so who are the victims in this? The American people and the children. Going back to RFK Jr.'s testimony today, I want to show this, Doctor. It was a heated debate between Kennedy and Bernie Sanders. Let's take a listen.
Are Marty McCary, Jay Bhattacharya, Dr. Oz, Vinay Prasad.
So you got a few doctors who agree with you, and I'm giving you the
Not
names.
a few doctors. What you're talking about is there's a big difference, Senator, between established science and the scientific establishment, which has been co-opted by the pharmaceutical
Hold on. So
industry.
you're telling the American people that the American Medical Association, representing hundreds of thousands of people, have been co-opted and that they should not trust their doctors.
And I'm
the
telling
American
you,
Academy of Pediatrics, and by the way, just for the record, every single Republican, I don't mean to be political here, Mr. Chairman, has received PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. Are they all corrupt as well?
And I'm telling you, the American Heart Association has been co-opted by the food
Everybody
industry.
but you, Senator. But you know what? When you ran for president, we have a corrupt campaign finance system. Maybe you will agree with me on that. Okay, you were already president, you had $1 billion behind it. You received $300,000 from people, not from the industry, people in it, as I did, from individuals. You corrupt. President Trump got $3 million. Every Republican got corporate PAC money for the pharmaceutical industry. Democrats as well. Everybody is corrupt, but you? Is that what we're looking at? I don't think so. And I think the issue now...
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, I think you do know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The issue is every time anyone disagrees with you...
Are you saying the pharmaceutical industry was supporting my presidential campaign?
No, I'm saying...
I don't think
no,
so.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the pharmaceutical industry is a greedy institution which is charging us the highest prices in the world. They are pervasive. But to suggest that every institution, the AMA, the pediatrics people, is corrupt because they disagree with you is an insult to the American people.
Listen, people disagree with me all the time. I have arguments in my agency, heated arguments every day with Jay Bhattacharya, with Marty McCary, with Dr. Oz.
You have given the names of a few people. I have given you the names of organizations representing hundreds of thousands of doctors and scientists. I yield, Mr. President.
Senator Tillis.
Doctor, your thought on this?
Well, first of all, these are trade organizations. The organizations, the American Medical Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists are trade organizations like any other trade organizations. They do not represent the patients. They represent the practitioners that are a part of those organizations. And by and large, they take large amounts of money to exist as entities from large pharmaceutical interests. You look at the American Academy of Pediatrics, you'll see that vaccine manufacturers like Merck, GlaxoSmithKline, Seqirus, CSL, Sanofi Pasteur, all underwrite the American Academy of Pediatrics that, yes, is recommending 76 needle sticks through the 18th birthday, which the plurality of them, about 30 needle sticks through the first year of life. Okay, this is preposterous. And I can spout acronyms until I'm blue in the face, but you summed it up very well. It was clown world against common sense, and the clown world was the alphabet soup that Senator Bernie Sanders had at the tip of his tongue. But again, Vanessa, these are trade organizations. They represent the doctors. They do not represent the patients or the well-being of the patients.
I agree with you 100%, and I'm so glad that Kennedy is there and defending us and defending our kids. I know you are too. I want people to follow you on X as we start wrapping up here. You are on X, and you post a lot of information there. So if people want to follow you, we have your page pulled up right now. There he is. So go give him a follow.
Brian
Thanks
Hooker,
for coming on today. Yes, very easy to remember, at Brian Hooker, PhD. All right, thanks so much for being here, Doctor, and we hope to have you back on soon. We appreciate you.
All right, thank you very much.
And more to come here on Spin Room when we come back, a ride-along behind the scenes with the U.S. Marshals. That's next. Stay with us here on Spin Room.
Whether it's being a weekend warrior or spending time with your family, feeling your best is the key to doing the things you love. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Nirvanta. It's a natural solution designed to help you stay active and live well naturally. Nirvanta is a topical blend of all natural essential oils like frankincense, myrrh, and a proprietary gold standard plant stock extract. It's perfect for your hands, feet, knees, back, or anywhere else that needs a little extra care. Use Nirvanta proactively as part of your daily maintenance routine, and you're guaranteed you're going to feel the difference. Simply massage Nirvanta in for at least 60 seconds, 2 to 3 times a day to get the best results. And if you're not completely satisfied, you get your money back. No questions asked. There's simply no risk and no reason not to try Nirvanta today. Right now, you get 15% off with code Lindell exclusively at nirvantahealth.com. So stop reaching out for that medicine cabinet. Get Nirvanta instead and experience the difference. Go to nirvantahealth.com. Use code Lindell to get 15% off today. Nirvanta Health. Live well naturally.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including Lindell TV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to Lindell TV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
Swollen limbs, joint pain, inflammation, skin aging, and cognitive decline. These are just a few of the awful side effects that you can experience due to poor blood circulation. And popping ibuprofen is not a solution to the pain. It's only temporary relief, and it's only masking the true problem, which is inflammation. Researchers are saying to add this Antarctic super nutrient to your diet. I'm talking about omega-3 fatty acids, but not just any form of omegas. These particular omega-3 fatty acids are sourced from wild-caught krill. Has been shown to support healthy blood pressure, circulation, brain health, as well as reduce inflammation, swelling, and joint pain. For a limited time, you can grab Native Path Antarctic Krill Oil for up to 66% off plus free shipping. Just go to getkrill.com/Lindell right now to get your special offer.
Let's take a look at how the market closed out the day over on Wall Street. Taking a look at the Dow closing the day up 319 points, the S&P 500 up 36 points, and the NASDAQ closing out the day up 128 points. A good day on Wall Street. This afternoon, we take you inside the high-stakes world of the U.S. Marshals Service. A look at deputies as they hit the streets in search of some of the nation's most wanted fugitives. Watch.
It's an order by the President of the United States to get rid of crime in the capital of the United States.
I promise you the whole street will know that we are there. There's a purpose for that. We want to make sure that everyone knows that we're police.
The U.S. Marshal Service has been chosen to lead our brothers and sisters in this operation.
The U.S. Marshals with a warrant! Come to the door!
The capital of the United States should be the safest place.
Police! Come down to the front door!
It should be the cleanest place. Instead, the laws here do not favor law enforcement. Things are going to change here. I can tell you the revolving door of, let them go. You put them in and they tap you on the shoulder and ask you where's their wallet. And you're like, what? That's going to be gone. They're working on that right now.
And you can see firsthand how dangerous their job is during those encounters, not knowing who is going to open up the door when they knock. But it's all in a day's work, bringing fugitives to justice and keeping communities safe. President Trump promising to bring in the feds and the troops to Chicago. The Windy City is the bloody city. Nightly murders, shootings, a crime-riddled city where the mayor has absolutely no control. So President Trump is taking control himself. And the Dems, they don't like it one bit. Here's Stephen Miller with more on that.
The reason for the nonstop bloodshed streaming through the streets of Chicago, you saw the statistics, just over Labor Day weekend, another 54 people were shot in Chicago. 58 people, almost 60 people, just in one weekend. The reason for this is because the Democrat leaders, the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, the foolish governor of the state, Pritzker, as well as the senators of the state, Democrat leadership from top to bottom, refused to put the violent street criminals in jail. If you look at the rap sheets, what you will see is arrested and released, arrested and released, arrested and released. They are never kept in jail. So you have a small percentage of the population that are serial criminal killers, gangbangers, hoodlums, and drug dealers that are left to roam free and shoot and maim and rape and mug with impunity from the age of 14 all the way through the rest of their lives. That's the reason why. Here in Washington, D.C., where I'm talking to you from right now, in just 3 weeks, President Trump has turned the most dangerous city in America to the safest metropolis in the United States of America. And how did he do it? By surging in National Guard, by surging in FBI, ATF, DEA, and ICE, and making clear that if you commit a crime in this city, and especially if you commit a violent crime, we will find you, we will lock you up, and we won't stop coming at you until the people who live in this city are safe. President Trump did that, and now he's made this city into a safe zone for everyone.
Well, as for Chicago, President Trump has promised it is happening, but hasn't given a timeline. He also mentioned New Orleans just yesterday. We told you about that as a possible city to take over. And speaking of Louisiana, Alligator Alcatraz Part 2. Introducing to you Louisiana Lockup. It's now open for business. The site was built to handle the growing number of illegal immigrants awaiting deportation. It has upgraded security, medical care, expanded housing units. It has already taken in its first detainees. As you can see there was a walkthrough of the new facility. Where is it located? Well, it's located in a rural area north of Baton Rouge, the complex spanning 18,000 acres. And we were able to catch up with Border Czar Tom Homan with an exclusive update on protecting our homeland. Here's our Kara Castronova with Tom Homan.
Kara Castronova here at the White House in Washington, D.C., obviously with Tom Homan, the border czar, who's doing great things, talking about everything going on at the border. Any new updates?
No, we continue to have the most secure border in the history of the nation. We got a little bit more work to do. We got to build up more border wall, a couple hundred miles of border wall. And I looked at the numbers this morning. We put up almost 10 miles of new border wall, ballards. We've got over 100 miles of temporary border barriers. And we're working on adding river buoys in the river, which are really, really good obstacles that they just can't defeat. So we've got some more work to do, and we're going to get more Border Patrol agents being hired on the big, beautiful bill. We're also going to add the technology of the existing border wall. When President Biden stopped construction of the border wall, he also stopped the technology that went into the wall already built that allowed agents to talk to one another. That made it a smart wall, so we know people approach the wall, climb the wall, dig under the wall. We knew. So not only are we building more wall, we're finishing infrastructure in the border wall. We're actually adding infrastructure and intelligence capabilities to the port of entry, so legal trade and travel can move efficiently while still catching the contraband being smuggled. So great things on the border. Again, I'll say it again. I'll say it 1,000 times. Most secure border in the history of the nation, and we're even going to do better on the border.
Question I have is, how could this be sustained, say, into the next presidency? Is there an infrastructure in place with the next president that comes in, whether it's Democrat or Republican, to keep this border secure after all the hard work, obviously, that you're doing and President Trump's team?
Exactly, and that's why I've been preaching. That's why I was up on the Hill numerous times asking for the big, beautiful bill. So we have the money to build that infrastructure, a wall that will last decades, the IT, the technology that's going to last us. The resources, boots on the ground, more border patrols, all come in the big, beautiful bill, right? And vehicles and other operational necessities. And the same with interior enforcement. That's why we need 100,000 beds. And we need a permanent infrastructure. We need more brick and mortar. Some of the governors are stepping up, giving us some transitional facilities. I appreciate that. And they'll come in useful as a transition facility. But we need more brick and mortar, and that's what I'm pushing for. Brick and mortar is going to last us for decades. To build that consistent infrastructure that's going to be there. ICE is hiring buying a record number of vehicles, putting 10,000 more agents on the ground, have more transportation contracts. We need to take the money we have now and build an infrastructure that's going to last us for decades.
Okay, great. And just so you know, I have a brother who's really not political, but he said that you remind him of like a John Wayne Western type. He thinks you're super cool. What's your response to so many young men that actually think you're this folk hero?
I don't think I'm a folk hero. I give the credit. First of all, I love my country, and I hope everybody that's born and raised in this country loves the country. But the credit goes to the men and women wearing that Border Patrol uniform and the men and women of ICE. I take no credit. We're successful on the border and interior enforcement because, one, we got President Trump in the Oval Office, who signed a series of executive orders that proved successful in the Trump 45. He signed more in addition to that. So his leadership, game changer, the most successful president in the history of this nation when it comes to border security. I happen to think he's one of the best presidents of my lifetime, if not the best president in my lifetime. Matter of fact, yeah, he's the best president of my lifetime. But the men and women of the Border Patrol, the men and women of the ICE, the ones that put a gun on their hip every day, the one that put that Kevlar vest on. At 2 o'clock this morning, you're probably sleeping, I was sleeping, and guess what? The men and women of the Border Patrol are standing on a dirt trail someplace defending that border. And men and women of ICE out there in dangerous streets looking for the worst of the worst. They deserve the credit, not me.
Yeah, that's true. And you deserve credit too. But sanctuary city status for DC, is it possible? To take it away.
Do what?
Is it possible for the president to revoke sanctuary city status from DC?
That's a question for Pam Bondi. I know she's taken it to court. I hope she's successful because sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. They're not sanctuaries for law-abiding Americans. And sanctuary cities put the public at great risk. It puts officers at great risk. Sanctuaries are sanctuaries for criminals. They need to go away. So I applaud Pam Bondi for taking it on. We got a strong AG, and she's fighting the fight.
Last question, your message to the protesters that are here. There's not a lot of them, but they've been very loud for the past couple days, saying free DC from the police. They're against, getting rid of illegals. What's your message to these protesters that are now popping up at Union Station and out here outside of the White House?
Protest all you want. You got the First Amendment right, and I support the First Amendment. If you cross the line, you're going to be prosecuted. You put a hand on an ICE officer, you're going to be prosecuted. You throw a stone, you're going to be prosecuted. If you damage their property, you're going to be prosecuted. If you impede in any way with law enforcement doing their jobs, you're going to jail. So protest all you want, you have that right. It's a shame that you're protesting men and women of ICE for simply enforcing laws that Congress enacted. They're not making this up. You want to protest? Protest Congress. They wrote the law. And we got members of Congress comparing ICE to terrorists and Nazis. It's ridiculous, disgusting. If they're terrorists and Nazis for enforcing that law, what's that make you? You wrote the law.
All right, great interview there. Our Tom Homan, the border czar, speaking with Kara Castronova outside the White House. So a great update there. We have more Spin Room coming back. When we come back, our First Lady hosted a meeting on artificial intelligence today. We'll hear from Melania when we come back. Stay with us.
To celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7, I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now. With everybody talking about making America healthy again, I thought today'd be a great day to talk to all my fellow patriots about the importance of making your homes healthy again. Well, we have proudly partnered with airwaterhealing.com and their revolutionary whole home air purification system. The V3 from Air Water Healing does 3,000 square feet of purification. It eliminates dust, mold, viruses, and odors. But here's the part I love. They require no filters to ever be changed and virtually no maintenance. Whether you suffer from asthma, allergies, seasonal bronchitis, or just want to protect your family from the flu or even greater threats, don't wait to get your V3 from airwaterhealing.com today. Use code Lindell for 20% off in savings and free shipping. That's promo code Lindell at airwaterhealing.com. If you want to drop extra pounds, boost energy levels, and reduce swelling in your legs and feet, then this message is for you. Pure Health Research is on a mission to make America healthy again. And 2 of their best-selling health supplements are leading the way. First is Liver Health Formula. Over 100 million Americans have a sluggish liver that's riddled with fatty deposits. This can kill your metabolism, pile on the pounds, and make you feel tired. Liver Health Formula takes care of that. It supports thriving liver health with special nutrients like artichoke extract and milk thistle. This is one of the easiest ways to slim down and revitalize your energy levels. Next is lymph system support. If you struggle with fluid buildup or swelling in your legs, ankles, and feet, this is for you. The natural ingredients in lymph system support help gently flush away extra fluid and toxins out of your body. And right now, for a limited time, you can get 35% off Liver Health Formula and Lymph System Support, along with 50 plus other health supplements that Pure Health Research has to offer. So head over to purehealthresearch.com and use promo code Lindell at checkout. That's purehealthresearch.com, promo code Lindell to save 35% on your order today.
First Lady Melania Trump hosted a meeting of the White House Task Force on Artificial Intelligence Education. The First Lady says she predicts AI will represent the single largest growth category in our nation during the Trump administration, and that she wouldn't be surprised if AI becomes known as the greatest engine of progress in the history of the United States.
Cars now steer themselves through our cities. Robots hold steady hands in the operating room. And drones are redefining the future of war. Innovations of first-generation humanoids, factory automation, and autonomous vehicles have surged from private sector investment. Every one of these advancements is powered by AI. The robots are here. Our future is no longer science fiction.
This was the second meeting of the White House Task Force on Artificial Intelligence since April. And on top of this, the First Lady has been designing a new pavilion at the White House. So the President is designing a ballroom, the First Lady designing a pavilion. This is a look at what they are up to. The First Lady in 2020 started on this project, and it's just now coming to fruition. Melania shared her vision for the White House Tennis Pavilion. Renowned architect Mr. Stephen W. Spandl, along with a designer, have released those photos of what it would look like. The office of the First Lady says that this solidifies the White House Tennis Pavilion as a design symbol of American ingenuity and excellence. And of course, it's white and gold. That's a staple of the Trump family. All right, as we start to close out the show today, we are going to give you today's Bible verse of the day, and it comes from the book of Romans. It says this: "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may prove what the will of God is, that which is good and acceptable and perfect." And that is coming from Romans chapter 12, verse 2. As a reminder, we do have a breaking news desk now. You can send all of your tips, ideas, guest ideas to news@lindeltv.com. There's the information right there on your screen. That's news@lindeltv.com. We just started this about a month ago, and so already we've received lots of ideas from a lot of our viewers. We love hearing from you, all of you. So if you want us to know something that you want to see here on Lindell TV, shoot us an email. Or if you would like to be a guest on our show, you can definitely send us an email as well. We'd love to hear from all of our viewers. Again, that's news@lindeltv.com. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media. There are all of the platforms that we're on. We're on Vocal. That is Mike Lindell's social media platform. We are there live every day. Lots of breaking news. If we can pull that screen back up. We have Vocal, which we would love for you to submit all of your Vocal posts there to let us know what's going on there. Truth Social, of course, that is President Trump's social media platform. We have X. We also have Instagram and YouTube. YouTube has really taken off for us. Sometimes, as you know, we've reported this in the past, we do get flagged on YouTube, but we're there. Make sure you subscribe. That's a lot of the problem we're continuing to see with these social media platforms. But if you go to Vocal, you don't have to worry about that. That's Mike Lindell's platform, also Truth Social, which is President Trump's platform, because a lot of these other social media networks are still censoring us. So we're there on all of the others. Make sure you follow us. But if you want to see what's really happening or want to post your thoughts, it's Vocal and it's Truth, because those are the only ones that will not flag you for just speaking your First Amendment right, and that is free speech. So make sure you download Vocal. You can also go to vocal.com or your app store, and that's VOCL. And that'll do it for us here today on Spin Room. We'll see you right back here, same time, same place tomorrow. In the meantime, Steve Bannon's War Room is next. I'm Vanessa Broussard, and you're watching Lindell TV.